Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. Today is Monday, December 15th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central, talk about the grant and programming, give updates, and support each of you. Today is an especially important announcement date because we not only have one, but we have two new preferred lenders that are available to our grant participants, our clients, those individuals that are going through our programming. One of which is based on getting cash business loans. And that's what we'll spend most of our time talking about today. We're going to go through some details of what will the interest rates be, what will the payments be, what will be the repayment terms, what are the underwriting criteria. So just a high level of transparency so everyone understands how that new preferred lender works. And then we have a second new preferred lender that is over on the trade line side for those of our clients, the grant participants that are wanting a company car, a vehicle that's in their business name under the EIN, reporting on their business credit, not personal credit. We have a new lender there in place as well. When we talk about preferred lenders, these are outliers. These are real. They're true lenders in each respective marketplace, but there are exceptions or underwriting that they will approve that commonly wouldn't get approved. And so that's in fact what we're witnessing. We're seeing people that have been turned down in some cases everywhere else getting approved. So this is outstanding. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have the sheet shared with you here, and we're going to talk about our new lending partner primarily on the cash business funding side today. We are extremely excited to announce a new preferred lender to assist our grant participants in accessing guaranteed loans up to 5 million to start or grow a business. Now that sentence is important because this lender will work with startups that are brand new that do not have existing revenue as well as those businesses that are open and operating. And that's a difference, right? Because you'll run into some lenders that they won't work with pre-revenue. They won't work with quote unquote new businesses. This one certainly will. The purpose of going through this discussion, this documentation, this sheet is to give you important information about this. So yes, yes, yes. It's a federally chartered bank. There's no nonsense. It's legal. It's real, and it's available for now. So at this point, we're able to enroll clients and get them submitted in for funding, but we can't make any promise that this will be around in 30 days or 60 days. So timing is of the essence. So if we talk about this new lender that does guaranteed loans up to 5 million, we need to really understand how it works. We don't want to leave it just as generic or broad. Let's get down into the weeds, into the details. So the first thing that we need everyone to understand is what are eligible loan purposes through this specific lender. So remember, there are different lenders, different loan programs. They each have their own underwriting criteria. In this case, we're going through one specific new lender, our new preferred lender on the business funding side. So these guaranteed loans can be used. I'm going to give you a list of what it can be used for. And this is coming directly from the lender. So this isn't marketing or spin or something I made up. The content that I'm giving you today comes directly from the lender. Guaranteed loans can be used to purchase or improve occupied commercial real estate. In other words, we can buy real estate. We can do improvements to real estate called leasehold improvements. We can get machinery and equipment, fixtures and furniture. We can buy inventory and other business assets. We can use it to provide working capital. We can use it to refinance debt. We can use it to purchase a business and to pay loan closing cost. We do need to state our uses of funds, and that needs to be put into the business plan. But that's part of what we do, right? Part of what we do as technical advisors is helping clients have the documentation necessary to get approved. So pretty broad. I think when you look at this, you'd say, well, yeah, that covers just about probably just about everything or anything that a typical business loan borrower would need. But we need to get that properly stated in the business plan. And again, that's what we do. We're here to help you get that documentation and to put together the financial projections that shows that we can afford it. So, any questions anyone has on the loan purpose, go ahead and type it in. If not, we'll keep rolling. Guaranteed loan amounts. And again, this content comes from directly from the lender. So we're not the lender, we're the technical advisor. We get the files prepared and prepared for processing and approval. The guaranteed loans range from as small as 50,000. So on occasion, we have clients that come to us that want a very small amount, or maybe they just want a small amount initially, but the range for this new preferred lender is as low as 50,000 and then up to a max of 5 million. Keep in mind, it's the client, it's the grant participant that determines how much funding they want. So we'll work with each grant participant, put together their uses of funds, which we talked about above. We help get that properly documented and then help the client meet the lender's requirements. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and type it in. All right, a lot of times people want to know, well, what's this loan going to cost me? And historically, what we said is, well, we need to apply and find out what the offer is. But some people aren't content with let's figure it out later. So now we've been able to nail down the lender and specifically their financing terms. So we're able to share that with you and everyone else proactively. So these are some great interest rates on business loans. It is based on the Wall Street prime rate. So you can look it up. You subscribe, I suspect, to the Wall Street Journal. I know I do. You can look it up online or check your mailbox for your paper today. You add 2.75% over the prime rate, and that is what their interest rates are. So that is the formula that their interest rates are very reasonable. So in other words, it's less than 3% over prime rate. Very, very reasonable. Other thing that a lot of people ask, well, what are the terms going to be? And so let's go through specifically what the lender has authorized us to share with each of you today. So in general, it's up to 25 years, but it depends on how the money is going to be used. So if you remember up here, we said that we need to put together the uses of funds to tell the lender what the money is going to be used for. And that's part of what we do with the business plan. As far as the repayment term, it is dependent upon those uses of funds. So specifically, if we're going to use money for real estate, it's up to 25 years. If it's for working capital, which essentially means just a cash transfer to the client, it's up to 10 years. Machinery and equipment is different. It's based upon the useful life of the asset. So when we have the uses of funds from above, it may be that we're accessing money for one, two, or all three of these. The repayment terms are based upon how the money's being used. Make sense? Okay, they also wanted us to clarify regarding collateral. Now, collateral is one of those things from a client's perspective, they may not feel that it's desirable, but from a lender's perspective, it's eminently important because especially if, let's say we go borrow $5 million. $5 million is to us and to the bank a lot of money, maybe not to you, but it's a lot of money. So let's say it's a working capital loan for $5 million. That money is wired over to the client. It's transferred over. Then the client uses it as they wish. Well, what happens if the client doesn't pay it back? Well, it's not like the bank can come back and say, give me the money back that the client, the borrower has already spent. So that's where collateral comes in. So again, directly from the preferred lender, these guaranteed loans must be collateralized. So the borrowers are going to need to have collateral. If the business doesn't have enough collateral, then they're going to go turn around and look at the personal assets of the borrower. But what we can do is manage all that for the client. We can transfer legally and ethically the assets needed for collateral, so that way it's covered. But yes, collateral is going to be required for these guaranteed loans because the lender doesn't want to have that risk of not being repaid and no way to recoup their losses. Okay, next page. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Our goal today is to go through this new preferred lender, guaranteed business loans up to 5 million, but we're getting into the weeds. We're going into the details so people can make an educated decision. Hey, is this good for my business? Is this a good way? And even they can use this as a comparison. What other offers did they have on the table? For those of you who are affiliates, and if someone's pushing back, you could ask them, okay, well, what types of terms do you have on a guaranteed loan right now? What is the repayment term? What are the interest rates? And frankly, if they got a better deal on the table, they probably should take it. I don't think you're going to find many people have a better deal on the table. So then we also need to understand eligible industries. And again, directly from the horse's mouth, they state loans can generally be made to all for-profit small businesses except those that do not meet eligibility requirements, such as if it's a lender, they won't loan money to a bank, loan packaging, ironically, investments, pawn shops, passive real estate investments, loan insurance companies, small businesses located in a foreign country. Now, in our case, we provide a commercial address for grant participants, so they would have a US based address. Nothing with pyramid or Ponzi, no gambling, and businesses which restrict patronage or promote a religion, no cooperatives, no nonprofits, or individuals of poor character or on probation or parole. So again, those aren't my words. That's cut and paste from the lender. But in general, pretty much all can get approved. The shelf corps that we create are all for profits. So again, we're going to help the participants get their documentation in line. All right, is there anything else that this lender has said that's important? Absolutely. We talked about the collateral. We've talked about the eligible industries. They also require documentation of commercial address. So some of you aren't as familiar as others with why we've set up our model as we have. We've set our model up because it meets what lenders are looking for. So let's get to the next item. This lender, as most do require lease documentation. And so let's see specifically what they mean by that. It states that the lease, including any options, on all business premises where collateral is located should be at least for as long as the term of the loan. And again, we provide that, we set that up, we provide a free lease, a free address for all the grant participants. All they pay for is just the mail forwarding. So that is covered. Furthermore, they do require a landlord's waiver, and your eyes may roll back in your head and say, what the hell is that? Again, that's part of the lease documentation. We know that's important. We've already built that in. It's already there. That's provided, but it is a requirement. Sometimes we'll have clients that come to us, grant participants, and they'll say, well, we don't want to use that free address you guys give us. They want to use their own address. Well, that's okay if it meets all the lender criteria. If not, then it doesn't work. All right. So what they also wanted us to communicate is that in many cases, people don't proceed with their dreams, their aspirations, their request for funding because they think they just won't qualify. And so we wanted to clarify two issues. Personal credit is not going to be a barrier. And secondly, time in business is not a barrier. So those of you that are affiliates, you don't need to go out and filter out and say, oh, do you have good credit or is your credit okay? That's not a prerequisite for participating. Then we'll wrap it up here with next steps. What is it that we need to do to take action, to get engaged, to get involved? So we start with the free funding proposal application. It is located on our website on 509pacific.org. And of course, there's no upfront cost. Those of you who are affiliates, you'll have your own link that looks the same, so you can bring participants in and you get credit for it. But regardless, we need to first bring the prospect in and get a free funding proposal so we can get them pre-approved. Those clients that fill out the free funding proposal will now get a pre-approval notice. First thing, so that's a different process starting today, December 15th. The first communication they'll get, if they're pre-approved, they'll literally get a pre-approval notice. The second thing that will happen is one of our staff will then reach out to them and walk them through that pre-approval notice so they know how much they've been pre-approved for and the other important factors. So that's a new element effective today, December 15th. And I guess that's point number two here. Now, will they need to get one of these free shelf corporations from us? No, it's not a prerequisite. They're going to need to have a business that is set up properly. If they have their own business, great, we can use it. If they want to use one of our free shelf corporations, they're able to do so. The free shelf corporations are also available on 509 Pacific. So, no, it's not a requirement. Certainly, they need to have a business in good standing. We can either use theirs or we can provide them one. Then, secondly, we can assist them in setting up their business to make sure their business is quote unquote fundable. So, in other words, is it set up properly? Does it have the documentation that's needed? We've made several references of what are some things that are needed. Well, we need to have a business plan and financial projections. We need to state within that business plan our uses of funds, as we've talked about. We need to have collateral. We need to have, we need to be of an eligible industry. We need to have the proper lease documentation. So those are the deliverables that we can provide if they need. Now, if the applicant already has all that, then that's fine. We can go right to funding, but typically they'll need our help. So that is the point there. And then again, all of this is guaranteed. If you read our agreement, we guarantee, contractually guarantee in writing that they're going to be funded. So there's no upfront cost and there is no risk of failure. It's not a free program. So there is a 10% performance fee that is paid after the client receives funding. After. Why do we do that? Because we have distribution partners we call affiliates, and we pay 5% out to our affiliates. Well, if there wasn't incoming income, then how would we pay the affiliates their commission? We wouldn't be able to. If you're interested in becoming an affiliate, that's free and easy. You can also do that on 509pacific.org. So let me see if there's any specific questions. If not, we'll wrap it up. As far as action steps, if you're looking for funding to start or grow a business, never been a better time, especially with these new preferred lenders that we have on board now. Simply follow these instructions. Go to 509pacific.org, fill out the free funding proposal, and we can get everything processed for you quickly. If you're looking instead or in addition to being an affiliate, you can get paid to help people. It's 5% of their capital raise. So of a 5 million capital raise, you're making right at 250,000, which that's not bad for referring in a business. All right, Eduardo has a question about collateral. So let's go back up to collateral. So yes, collateral is a requirement, Eduardo. We've covered that. But what did we also state? We understand, we know that a lot of applicants, they don't have the collateral that's needed, but that's okay. We provide the collateral. So yes, collateral is eminently important. We've stated that it is by the lender's own words, but we can overcome that. So that's really, Eduardo, what I'm hoping that you and the others will take from this. Are there requirements that need to be met? Sure, sure, but they're not insurmountable. We're able to assist clients in meeting that underwriting criteria, which is great. Wendy has a good follow-up question about collateral. So what we do is we look at what collateral does the applicant have to begin with, and that could be from the business side preferably. And if they don't have enough on the business side, we can look at what they have on the personal side. And do those two add up to enough to equal the loan amount to protect the lender? If not, then we can figure out what's called the collateral shortfall is, and we can transfer that. But we'll need to address that, Wendy, with each person individually because there's a bit of a calculation there. So no worries about that. Sarah asked a good question about, well, she actually has 2 points on real estate. You can buy just about any type of real estate, but there are some certain requirements that, for example, it needs to be at least 51% owner occupied. So let's say you're going to buy an office building and it is 10,000 square feet. We would need to show on paper, at least, wink, wink, that 5,151% of it's going to be used by your business. Then you could lease out the other. But yes, we're talking about business funding. This would be commercial real estate. This wouldn't be going and buying a house that you're going to live in yourself. That would be a consumer mortgage, which would be outside. Do we have funding resources to go buy residential real estate that's going to be used for fix and flip or investment purposes? Absolutely. That would frankly be through a different lender, not this preferred lender. All right, and then Sarah's other question was regarding credit. So part of what we do is we add trade lines to each business profile to make it stronger. And those trade lines can be lines of credit, business credit cards, business automobiles, and other. The business automobiles, what I mentioned at the beginning of our session today, that we have a new preferred lender that we're getting approvals for. And I'm not exaggerating at all. We're getting approvals for people that have been declined everywhere else and getting them approved for six-figure business automobile loans. But so there's business credit, and that's part of what we do in helping clients have a strong profile that's built in. Her other element of her question is on personal credit. So if someone has personal credit issues, we have a couple ways to deal with it. We can either look at lenders that do not require any personal credit requirements, so we kind of avoid the problem. And or we also have a legal team that will do a free credit sweep, legal and ethical, to help improve personal credit scores. So you're right, Sarah. Personal credit's not going to keep people from getting funding because we're going to do at least one of two things: either go to funding that doesn't require personal credit minimums and or help them address the personal credit issues. All right. Another comment is, what if someone already has an existing business? That's perfectly fine. The process is the same. So whether someone has an existing business or not, we start at the same point. We're going to go to free funding proposal, get a free funding proposal, which is on 509pacific.org. It's a one-page app, no docs required, no hard inquiries. The top half ask about business information. If we don't have any or all of that information, it can be skipped. The more we have, the more options we have. And then the bottom half of the one-page app is business owner information. So the process starts the same regardless if a client brings a business with them or not. That doesn't change the front end of the process. All right. As far as copy this outline, yes, we'll be getting this recording up and posted here soon on our YouTube. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. We're about 30 minutes in. Really exciting. What we're wanting to do is of course, finish 2025 strong. We've had a record-setting year. Many of you who are affiliates are doing incredibly well. We want to have a strong finish to the year. but also we want to be prepared for an explosive growth in 2026, which starts here in about 2 weeks. So this is really geared towards explosive growth in 2026, but it's open now. We are ready to use these new preferred lenders immediately. Let's say that you're someone that's already in the system and you haven't gotten funded yet, and you're wondering, will this work for you? I bet it will. So, yes, so this is open to brand new participants, existing participants. We can use the resource from the bank for the big business loans, which we primarily talked about. And we have that new preferred lender for business automobiles. This is the time of the year to get a new business automobile. Chances are you need transportation anyway. Having it in the business name allows it to be tax deductible. And as long as we're getting a qualifying car, we can write off the entire amount of the car now as a Section 179 expense is allowed by the IRS and get you a huge refund come back in January on your taxes. So this is a great time to get business funding. This is a great time to get business trade lines, including automobiles. And we have some proprietary preferred lenders on both sides that can get people approved that would not be able to otherwise. So with that being said, our office phone is here. But your primary action step is to go to our website, 509pacific.org, fill out the funding proposal app. If you're looking for funding, if you're looking to become an affiliate, the link is there. It's free and easy. And we look forward to seeing you soon. We'll be back live tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.